All right.
I can press go and there we go.
All right. Hi, I'm Frankie Lamont from Keller Williams Center City. I'm a realtor, and this is our in-house lender.
Hi, I'm Kevin Berju, branch manager of Centennial Lending. We're one of the in-house lenders for Keller Williams.
Awesome. Okay, so today we're here on this snowy day in the office filming a video, and we're going to talk about cash assets. I recently had a situation where
Yes.
somebody was earning tips, right? Which this is not uncommon, whether it's in like construction or the restaurant industry. There's plenty of people out there that are earning money in literally cash form.
Mm-hmm.
And how this can unfortunately affect your ability to get a mortgage. So what are some things we can do to avoid something like that from happening?
Well, Frankie, I think the first thing that you have to do is at the beginning of the process, you have to look at how much money the borrower is going to need. So they have to say, how much money am I going to need for this? And then I know one of the things that we do all the time is we have a funds to close worksheet that we make them fill out saying, okay, I'm getting $5,000 in gift. I have this amount of money in my checking account, or I'm liquidating my 401k or an IRA, or I'm borrowing against it. Mm-hmm. And so once we see that, then we know what kind of documentation that they're going to need, and we can lead them to that to say, okay, if this is what you're doing, here's the documentation that will be required in order for that cash to be acceptable and the loan to get approved.
Okay, so documentation seems important, right? Like you have to be able to document where this money is coming from.
Documentation is imperative.
Right. It's not even right because of our the Patriot Act and stuff, right?
Right. So you have the Patriot Act, you have underwriting guidelines. You know, it's and this is why we really try and get a gist of where the money is coming from. You know, if it's coming from future savings, then say that.
Right.
And then, if, a good loan officer will ask, okay, how is that future saving coming from? If you're in a business like, if you're a server and you're getting, a couple $100 a night in tips,
right, and
that can amount to a lot of money if you, particularly if, as some people do, they wait till the end of the month to take their tips and put it all in.
Right.
Then they're going to say, okay, where did this $4,000 or $3,000 come from? And they won't be able to explain it unless they've documented, which servers can, on their pay stubs that they're claiming X amount of dollars in tips. So if they've done that for a length of time, then an underwriter can say, okay, this isn't an unreasonable expectation. We have proof that this has happened in the past.
So I see what you're saying. So if you're a server, bartender, anything in the the restaurant industry where you're earning tips, mm-hmm, you're saying documentation via claiming literally your tips.
True. Yeah. I mean, when you in that particular industry,
right,
where tips are very, very common and expected,
right,
they fill in at the end of their I don't know if it's a manager there or someone in HR or who does payroll there fills in how much the server got tips for any given whatever that time period is. So again, when you see that consistently, then it doesn't become an issue.
Okay.
There's also other things that people will do with terms of cash assets that they should be aware of needs documentation. For example, and this we run into a lot, where someone will sell something, a motorcycle, a car. And sometimes, they'll say, okay, I sold a car for $5,000, but they go to the notary and they say, we're just going to claim $2,000 because of tax ramifications. And then we see from the notary saying that we sold their motorcycle for $2,000, but yet we see a $5,000 deposit.
So where'd that other $3,000 come from?
Correct.
So it's, you think you're doing yourself a favor, but you're really not, especially when it comes to trying to obtain or attain a mortgage.
Right. So the best thing to do is be very open and forthright with the person who's doing the loan and realtor, and say, this is where the money is coming from. And then, the loan officer, mortgage consultant, or the realtor should say, okay, that's great. Particularly the mortgage consultant will have to say, okay, this is how you have to document it.
Right.
And doing that up front is key. Then you don't get all the issues that you run into with having delays in settlement, because 3 days before settlement, they say, oh yeah, there's we look at a bank statement and we see a $5,000 deposit, and there was no expectation of that, and said, oh yeah, I sold this, or yeah, I had tips from 3 months ago and I just put them in. that won't work. So
it's important. So I hear what you're saying. It's important to be an informed consumer,
mhm.
knowing what you need to bring to the table, and it's also important to know so that when you're working with a lender, you are aware of what they should be asking for, right? Like
Sure.
you don't want to be.
Well, and that's the lender's job. I mean, the lender has
Right.
to say, and again, this is why I get that up front, because once I know what they're doing in terms of assets, where those assets are coming from, whether it's a gift, whatever it is, I can tell them the documentation that'll be required, and I'll do it in email a lot of times so that they can actually follow it, because they don't do this for a living. This isn't second
Right.
nature
Right.
to a consumer. So that's our job, is to guide them.
Right.
Say, okay, here's what you need to do. If you follow these steps, you will get the settlement.
Yeah, a lot of people serve and bartend and sell their vehicles to like earn a little bit of cash, a little bit of extra cash though.
Sure.
So I'm hoping that this will like empower and educate people so that they're aware of what
they need to
why
do.
it's important to claim it and keep that paper trail of where the money's coming from.
Absolutely.
Especially in our world today.
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Kevin, did we want to cover anything else?
I think that was
This
it
might be
for
our shortest
this.
video.
Okay. I think that was it for this time, but
Okay.
it's a good subject that really needs to be spoken about. People
Yes.
need to understand, because it'll help them get to settlement, a lot easier.
Yeah.
So if you don't know what you're supposed to do, if you have assets and you're not sure what you're supposed to do, or how you can use those assets, don't assume that you can just throw cash in the bank. Talk to your lender, talk to your realtor, who will then probably tell you to talk to your lender, to verify and find out exactly what you're going to need to source that income.
All right. Sounds good.
Okay.
Thank you so much for doing this on a snowy
My
day
pleasure.
with me. I really appreciate it.
It's fun.
All right.
Okay.
Do we want to give? Okay,
You
again,
are?
I'm Frankie from Keller Williams Center City, and I'm a realtor. My number is 215-301-4009, and this is Kevin Berju.
I'm Kevin Berju from Centennial Lending Group. My number is 215-681-3587. Thank you so much.
Oh, sorry.
Go ahead.
All right. If you have any other questions, leave them in the box below, or contact us on our cell phone numbers. Say hi.
How are you?
Sorry about that.
That's okay. All right. Bye.
Bye.